Hello. On Monday, I was talking to you about the way forward and the brave new world and the turning everything upside down. And on Wednesday, I spoke about looking back and how it was a different country there. And we really couldn't look back and think about what had gone before, but we had to look forward. And today, I thought I would speak about courage. And I thought through the various different kinds of courage and circumstances in which people show courage. And the first obvious one was when someone rushes into a burning building or jumps into the water to save someone, a kind of instinctive courage, which people do because they can't bear to see another human being hurting or even being killed, especially if it's someone who is precious to them. A kind of courage that you don't think about too much, you just do it. And afterwards, people will say, I didn't think, I just did it. And that's bravery, and it is, no doubt about it. And it's fueled by love, because we can't bear to see the hurting and the danger that people are in, whether we know them or not. Love, compassion for other human beings. And then I thought further, and I thought about the kind of courage that knows they're going into danger, like soldiers going over the top, as they used to say, putting themselves in danger. And they know that they are going into a difficult situation, and they may well be frightened, and yet they do it, just as Jesus put himself forward into a very dangerous situation. And with him, he knew even better, because he knew he was going to die. That is a different kind of courage. It's a considered courage, a courage where you think it out and you decide it's worth it. Because these people who put themselves into danger through war and such things, they are usually there because they want to save their own country. They want to stand up for what is right, their way of life, which they believe is the right way. They want to protect people at home from the dangers of war and of someone else taking over control. And Jesus knew that as well. He knew all these problems that he would face and all the hurt he would face. And yet he did it because he loves us. Considered courage, big courage, that is needed for that kind of thing. Even when you are afraid, you go ahead. And then I thought on, and I thought of the courage that some people have when they are faced with illness of their own. Perhaps it's terminal, perhaps it's going to take a long, long time of continuing inability or disability, and they know that their life is going to be difficult. And once they've got over the initial shock, they get on with it. And they do their best to stay cheerful and to do what they can while they can to enjoy each day. And they're doing it partly because they are trying to save those around them from the anguish of watching them be miserable and unhappy. They're trying to encourage them. They're making memories for the people they will leave behind. That takes courage of a different kind. Courage that has to be kept up for quite a long time. Or perhaps there's the courage of the husband or wife who is told that their spouse has a difficulty, has a problem, has an illness that could at any time catch them unawares and perhaps mean death. And they keep that knowledge to themselves rather than tell the person it will affect, because they know they will find it hard. They will live with fear all the time, and they don't want that. And then they have to listen to the comments, particularly if it happens to be a terminal illness, and they have to hear things like, I'll feel better next year, we'll do it next year, we'll go there next year. And you wonder if that will be possible. And all kinds of comments you will hear and encouragements you have to give just to keep the person believing that they will be better, that things will get better. That's an ongoing kind of courage that takes a lot out of you, that is fueled by love, because you're trying to save that person the hurt that they will feel if they were to be told, because perhaps they're just not strong enough to cope with it. And I thought too about the kind of courage that we will need as we move forward into a new world. Indeed, as we start to move into an easing of lockdown, as we were told yesterday. The kind of courage that says, I'm still going to stick with the rules. I'm not going to go out too quickly or forget about the 2 meters distance between us. I'm going to stick with the rules. I'm going to be careful. I'm going to obey the recommendations that are made and try to keep not just myself, but everyone else safe. And that kind of courage might be needed as others perhaps try to encourage us to go out more quickly or to visit more quickly. And we have to say, no, I'm sorry, but I'm not visiting you in your house yet. I'll meet you out in the park for a nice walk, or meet you and talk from the other end of a bench or whatever it might be. But that's what's considered safe at the moment. But I'm not yet ready to come into your house. And that might cause courage because we feel that we're maybe hurting or disappointing the other person. But it's for their own good and for our own good. And that kind of courage is also fueled by love. Love because we want to keep the other person safe. It's not just selfish. It's for all those around us. If we go to the beach and we're near perfect strangers, well, we just might not be very well, and we might pass something on to them, or they to us. So we are fueled by love for people that are near and dear to us, but also for human beings in general. And as we move forward into our new life, and if we want to do what we talked about earlier this week and make it a better life, make it a more Christian life, try to persuade and to show people that the way that we follow is the way that the world needs, then we will need courage to speak up and to encourage others to keep living in the way that they have recently, showing compassion and kindness, helping others who need it. We'll need courage to keep doing that and encouraging other people to do so as well, when they might show signs of going back to perhaps rather selfish ways or self-centered ways. And we have to ask them not to. We will need courage. And to my surprise, in 1 Corinthians 16 and verse 17, I found words of courage, which didn't surprise me, but the ending did. Be on your guard. Stand firm in the faith. Be men of courage. Be strong. Do everything in love. And I hadn't remembered that at the end of that admonition, there was the instruction to do everything in love. Paul was urging the Corinthians to take courage, to keep up their courage, to be strong, whether they were men or women, they had to be strong, they had to be courageous, because they had opposition and they had the fear of persecution. But they needed courage to keep firm to the faith. And they were to do that in love, because doing it in love meant that they wouldn't hurt anyone, that they would do things kindly and gently, that they would not fight amongst themselves, but they would care for each other. And it meant that they were building a new world, a world which for the first time was hearing the word Christian, that they were following Christ in a world that did not. And perhaps we are very much in the same position. We have a new world to create, and we are creating it for our children and grandchildren. That one day the world we live in will be the world that Christ dreamt of when he died for us, when we are kind to each other and we do everything in love. So be courageous as we go out of lockdown. Be courageous, stand firm, and do everything in love. Let's pray about that. Lord, we ask for your strength, that we might stand strong and do the right thing at the right time. Help us to be kind when we say to someone, no, we're not going to break the rule. Not yet. It's not time yet. The time will come when we can visit and talk and be close to one another again, but not yet. Help us to be strong as we build this new world, as we try to maintain the kind of kindness and love that has been shown over these last 2 or 3 months. Lord, as we remember the medical staff who have shown such kindness and love and courage through all that time, help us to make it worth it for them too, as we change the world, as we do our best to make this a better world. Help us to do that in love, for those whom we know who are close to us and part of our families, for friends, and for people we don't know, but who have made living in this world continue to be possible because of their courage. Lord, be with us in love. Amen. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.